now $3.99. And there's free delivery on selected products. Start saving now at appliancesdelivered.ie.
Dreaming of a sunny beach break? Fly Air Arabia direct to Agadir, Morocco's premier sun destination. Flights from Dublin start at €59 one way, including taxes. Book at airarabia.com. Air Arabia, where next? T's and C's apply.
Following the phenomenal success of its world premiere tour, the gripping and critically acclaimed courtroom sensation, The Verdict, comes to the Gaiety Theatre for 1 week only from April 16th. A washed-up Irish-American veteran lawyer with one last chance.
Now, we're delighted to say he's made time for us. It's getting a bit extraordinary what's happening to this man's career. Davy Russell joins us. How are you doing?
Hi, Joe.
It is getting a bit extraordinary what's happening to your career, isn't it?
Oh, well, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit surreal now, to be honest. Look, you come across people and things in your life, and they can make it better or worse. But I'm just lucky enough to have come across Tiger Roll, Gordon Elliott, and Jiggins Sound, really, you know.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, you wake up this morning and it's back to, I guess, not the less glamorous side of things, but it's amazing how you just get up and you get on with it again and suddenly you're at Fairy House in no time.
Yeah, back to the grindstone now. But sure, look, come here, that's what we do. As in, we ride horses and there's racing, and someone else's Grand National could be today. Do you know what I mean? So it's important to be as good as we can all the time.
How confident were you pre-race, Davy? What was the feeling?
Oh, look, I'll tell you now, I'll be honest with you. When I pulled up after the race last year, the first thing in my head was this lad could win another one if he got back. And I said it to Gordon. He's the only person I said it to. And then, you know, he was so impressive all year, and I hadn't sat in him. And then we schooled him during the week, and he was really, really ringing the bells, like, you know. But then on Thursday, then it just bucketed rain, and it would have been totally against him. And once the rain fell, then I kind of had maybe just said, okay, look, that's enough of a sign maybe that he won't be able to do it. And for the next 2 days, then the sun just split the stones over there and it dried out, and it just all came together. And Gordon made a huge decision of putting the blinkers on him. And I don't think a horse since 1930 something has won, or I don't know what year it is, but it's been a long time since the horse has won with blinkers on.
Mm.
And, you know, winning back to back and carrying that extra bit of weight and everything, he's just an unbelievable horse. He's just an unbelievable athlete, and to say he's a personality is an understatement. And I understand he's an animal, but really this guy is a little bit more than that. Tiger Roll, he's just a remarkable horse.
Can you expand on that or explain the personality or what kind of character he is?
Well, I suppose he likes his own space now, and he doesn't like to be, you know, if he's happy enough to do something, he'll do it, and if he's not happy to do it, he just won't bother.
Right.
I wanted to take a picture with him this morning. He just didn't want to take a picture with me, and so look, I just left him alone until he was happy to do it. But yesterday, Louise, who looks after him, and Karen, either side of him, because he get a bit boisterous, but we were walking to the start, and the commentator was going through all the horses in front of him, you know, number 13 or whatever, and next thing they came to him, and when he mentioned his name, he understood his own name being read out over the loudspeaker. He perked up when he heard his name, and then he just went back to normal when they went on to the next horse. He's an unbelievable horse. He has a huge amount of intelligence, and he's not like any other horse I've ever come across, really, you know.
I take it that's quite unusual, a horse perking up when it hears its name on the panel.
Yeah, they usually kind of are a bit bothered by other things as such, you know, but he takes it all in. He enjoys it, and the bigger the occasion, the more he likes it. He kind of grows a hand when he on the bigger day, and the more excitement, and the more people shout at him from the crowd, the better he enjoys it, to be honest, where other horses could melt, you know.
What's your relationship like with him?
I've very little relationship with him, only when I sit on him at home a couple of times this year, and I haven't ridden him in races that many times because we share, myself and Keith share him between us, and I schooled him the other day, and I don't be on his back for that long, but Louise spends most of the time with him, and the lads in the yard, Lisa O'Neill, spends a lot of time with him. But other than that, I have no input in anything that's done to the horse or anything like that. I just have I'm blessed to have the opportunity to ride him.
As you said, there was extra weight this year, Davy, 12 pounds more than last year, and you're going off as 4-1 favourite. Does the favourites tag weigh in any way on you? Do you feel any extra responsibility or pressure when you're 4-1 favourite?
Yeah, not so much the favourite side of it. That doesn't bother me too much in the Grand National. It's a little bit irrelevant because obviously 150 to 1 shot can win it. But I felt a shocking amount of pressure this year because of the horse that it was. And so much can go wrong in a Grand National. Like obviously the rain, which is uncontrollable, but people just didn't want to hear it. They wanted. There was going to be no other winner of the Grand National, only Tiger Roll in the majority. And I felt a lot of pressure that way, that maybe a guy that was going to have his one and only bet in a race, he was going to have it on Tiger Roll, you know. And bookies were playing it as if it was the biggest loss they'll ever have in a Grand National. And to be fair to the bookies, you know, they play a part in our sport. But this year is just... It was one for the housewife and for the taxi driver and for anybody that got up yesterday morning and to pick a horse. They kind of, you know, they were picking Tiger Roll because everybody felt he was going to win it, you know. Everybody felt he was going to win it.
How do you deal with pressure? How does pressure like that manifest itself for you? Do you get grumpy or?
Really bother me too much. Generally, no. I'm a bit of a pessimist that way. I kind of, you know, I had risen to the fact that the rain had put enough a halt on him, but it still wouldn't have made any difference what way I would have rode the horse, if you know what I mean. I kind of had convinced myself that, look, there was enough things there to say he couldn't win it or to go against him, so just let him do the talking, really, you know. There was enough people talking about everything else, so it was down to him then, and obviously he operated really well around there, which he really enjoys, you know.
Yeah, he sure did. Ruby Walsh had a quote. He said he could feel Tiger Roll almost behind him. You know, he could just feel how well you were going, and you seemed to settle into the race really nicely, maybe 10, 12 back. And what's going through your mind there? Is it about holding your nerve and picking your moment, or how did you feel it was going? Yeah,
I was... excuse me, sorry, I'm after doing an awful lot of talking.
I would imagine so, yeah.
It wouldn't be like me. I suppose, look, the first couple of fences are kind of a bit of a skitter-scatter. It's kind of get over, and you take what you get, or you kind of move into a position that you think that's going to suit you, you know, and you kind of have to abide by the rules as well, obviously, you know. You can't just take a beeline somewhere, you know. You have to appreciate there's other people around you. You're going quite quick, so, you know, the first couple of fences are a bit of a you know, find your feet kind of a job, you know. It's like when they open the doors for the 50% off sale, you know, you kind of rush in and you find your feet a little bit. And once I found where I wanted to be, or where I was, then I ended up a little bit further back than I would have liked. But I always knew I had in my armoury that when he'd meet a fence on a really good stride and I gave him a shove, that he can make enormous ground through the air. So I waited to pick the moment until that happened, and then once I started to jump really well, then everything was going forward, if you know what I mean. It was going towards the front of the field at a nice steady momentum, and pick my moments to kind of take the foot off the gas and just let him fill up and have a look around you, and then pick the moments then where you needed to nick a couple of lengths here or there. And then he gave a couple of stumbles at the fourth, fifth last, I think, and we were just worried was that going to run down the juice counter, but then he went down to the third last and he absolutely winged it, and from there on I'm trying to slow him down. I'm trying to conserve as much energy. I'm trying my damnedest not to get to the front without breaking his momentum as such, if you know what I mean. It's a thin line where I'm squeezing and he's pulling, and I can't pull or squeeze too much. It's just to keep his mind on the job. And then the gaps opened, and the last two fences he met on two fabulous strides, and it's kind of then just plays itself from there, if you know what I mean. They're the cards you're dealt, and I don't want to stop his momentum, and I don't want to go too soon, and we've a huge long run in, and last year then, it was pretty much very like last year, only he ran better to the line this year, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. That's fascinating when you're talking about picking moments to let him fill up the tank a little bit before pushing on again. Is that just instinct? Are you judging that off other horses? Are you judging that off, pacing furlongs yourself, or how are you judging that?
No, I suppose there's certain periods of a race that if your horse is comfortable and you're comfortable in the position that you're in, then you take that moment. That's your moment. Now, if you don't take it, and, at times you can get in a little bit of a row with another horse for a position, then you could miss that moment and you might suffer later on in the race. So I was lucky enough that the positions I was in, I was able to control them myself, that nobody was able to bully me out of my position as such. So I was able to control that position, and once I had control of that position, I was able to fill the tank. And when I was filling the tank, then he gets a little bit more confidence as such, and the horses around him may suffer a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So, I mean, you were both stuck for words and also incredibly eloquent and said some lovely things, not least about Ciarán O'Connor afterwards. But you were definitely stuck for words as well. Big feelings and thoughts were hitting you quite clearly. Can you almost digest them now and tell us what was going through your mind?
It was a huge relief that I didn't mess up.
I sensed that as well, actually. You were almost, it was like a weight had been lifted off you, I thought, looking on.
Yeah, and it was. I just felt that two countries in a 40-runner race, that is impossible. An achievement is virtually impossible to do. And when I say two countries, I mean England. I must say they're fantastic people. They're fantastic sports people, and they were so much behind Tiger Roll. It was irrelevant who trained them or who was riding. It was the horse. It was all for the horse. And then obviously the Irish people have taken them so much into their homes, nearly as such as at this stage. And I was writing for a lot of people now. I must say I got an awful lot of messages, and my family, they have to put up with an awful lot with me, and I felt it a lot now in the weeks building up to it. I just wasn't myself as such, as in I was very quiet in myself, and I felt I was very quiet, and I didn't really want to talk about anything too much because I could have said the wrong thing very fast, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So, and it was just all of that, just coming out from my toes, really, and yeah.
I can imagine, because we spoke on the phone, funny, we can almost put a date in it because it was the week before the National last year. And at that stage, I mean, your family were going through a terrible time. Your mother had passed away very recently, incredibly difficult for your father. We got a load of messages in that night because you were just speaking very openly and honestly about grief and how terrible it is. A year on, your dad gets to go. Yeah, and Mother's Day was only last week. Yeah. And to take the kids down to Mam's grave and look and have a chat with her, and then Dad, then I asked him just in conversation, I said, do you ever go to Aintree? And he says, it's been a long time since I've been in Aintree. I haven't been there in years. And next thing he rings me Wednesday morning, he says, I'm going there. I'm going to Aintree for a few days. And I said, great.
I'll book the flights. I get my wife Adele to book the flights for you, and he said, no, I'm downtown here now. I'll do my own thing. And I'd no ride, and he gets shocked and disappointed when I don't have rides. He can't understand it as such. He gets disappointed, and I understand why I don't have rides. There just wasn't any available at the time, and then when I get beaten on a horse, he gets shocked and disappointed, not for any reason, only that I didn't win. But then to see him there on yesterday, and he was just so emotional, and my dad's a tough man. He's a tough man, and to take something like that to break him. We're 7 kids, and we all had the most brilliant upbringing, like, do you know what I mean? So, like, he's a proud man, he's a proud Cork man, he's a proud Youghal man, and he's a big part of the town, and Tiger Roll is a big part of the town and a big part of Cork now at this stage, and the country. So, like, there's a lot of weight, and he feels it too, So, and he's just a proud father, and my brother won an award last week for. He's a landscaper, and he won an award up in Belfast. And my other brother he's got a good job in TG Carr, and my sisters are all doing very well for themselves. So, like, he can be a proud man. That he can go over and enjoy it as much as we do.
That's amazing. I mean, geez, I know you've a son. Can you only imagine being a father looking on as he wins the Grand National for the 2nd year in a row? I mean, it's an unbelievable thing to be able to almost do for your parents or to do for your father, I suppose.
Yeah, but I'm lucky now. I tell them they gave everybody, all the siblings, everything they wanted, but I asked for an awful lot from my parents, as in when I was younger. There was a lot more work went into me than any other one of my brothers and sisters. Like, they went along what you call the conventional route and went to college and school, and I gave them nothing but hassle. But, like, I didn't want to go to school. I wanted to do everything that someone wasn't supposed to do. That's the route I was going, and never once, Mum or Dad, never once ever questioned. Even if I was no good at it, they never questioned it as such. And for a couple of years at the start, it didn't look like I was going to be riding Grand National winners. I thought I was brilliant, but unless you're doing it on paper, that doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything. How good you think you are, it's just in results based. But they never questioned it, and I just hope that maybe. That something like that could just, give other parents. But they left me alone. Like, they just opened up the gates and set me free as a young lad to do whatever I wanted to do, but never questioned it. Never questioned anything I was doing. And I'm sure they thought it probably wasn't the best thing in the world to be going at, but never slowed me down or questioned it. Always behind me 100%. And that takes. I'm a parent now. I try to you try to shelter your kids so much, maybe a little bit too much at times, but they knew the line to draw between sheltering me and letting me go, and lucky enough I think the comfort for my parents was that I didn't drink. I never drank as a child or a young person or a young teenager or a young adult, and I think they were happy enough that when I was going out, not acting the maggot, that, something, I'll be able to do something.
Yeah. It takes real restraint on their part, because you love your kids so much, and the last thing you want to do is to see them go down a route which isn't going to work out for them. So it's actually incredible to, even if it's not shaping up brilliantly, but if your child loves what they're doing, to let them do it.
That's right, yeah.
I suspect the last year has been incredibly tough. At the same time, does, like, in the sweet moments yesterday, is it tinged with memories of your mother, or is that kind of is it a shadow, or is it a nice part of it, or is it just...
Oh no, but they're happy memories. Mum was ill for quite a bit, and she went to Galway every year, and she really enjoyed it, and it was a strange thing when Mum passed away. The snow came, and we all got a week, the full week with her, and in hospital, and I don't know, you hear different stories about different hospitals, but what the people in COH in Cork done for us as a family when we were going through that was second to none. Like, they were just exceptional people, and we got to say goodbye to her as such, and she was a brilliant woman. She was a Mead woman from Kells, and she was a marvellous family and a big family. And I have cousins worldwide, but we were able to celebrate. Well, I was, I started celebrate you, but all I do know is she'd been so happy, like,
Oh, listen, of course.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, where do you go from here? I mean, geez, this is some high. I saw the video of the Ryanair flight home last night, and it looked like an amazing scene, like just great fun and joyous. Like, isn't life funny? I mean, imagine if somehow you were able to travel back in time to the moment where Michael O'Leary sits down with you for a cup of tea and says, hey, Davy, pal, this isn't quite working out anymore. We're going to set you free. Imagine you were to get a glimpse of the future. It's hard to predict, isn't it?
You could nearly say it was like I did for some reason. But look, come here. It was a valuable lesson to learn, wasn't it? And
what was the lesson, Davy?
Well, just maybe like Michael has a canny way of doing things, maybe to work out for the better as such, and maybe that decision worked out for the better. I hope for him that I've repaid him to a certain degree, and for him and the team, we'll call it the team, but it maybe got me to prick my ears a small bit, maybe. And sometimes when you get comfortable in a situation and you go along that level, and maybe you could be, that's maybe not the level you should be comfortable at, so look, it made me prick my ears a small bit. But look, again, I'm lucky too that the family I have around me, and I've my brother-in-law, like, there's so many people there that I can't do what I'm doing unless I have them around me. So it's a long ways from just myself getting over anything as such. I've very good friends, and just when you have them people around you, it makes everything else so much easier.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you feel like are you riding as well as you've ever ridden? Is this like almost you're at the peak of your powers? You seem like you're enjoying it, I must say, as much as you've ever enjoyed it. It's feels like less of a kind of crusade you were just clearly so driven and making yourself miserable at times, but it does seem like you have got to a point where you do enjoy it more than you have in recent years. That's looking in from afar.
Definitely enjoying it more, because when you set out goals, there's goals set out for you as a jockey. We'll say there's certain races that you haven't really reached. Like when you become a champion jockey, then you want to be as good as other champion jockeys. So like Ruby Walsh and Barry Geraghty had won Grand Nationals, and Ruby has won 2 Grand Nationals, and it's to be in the same breath as them other champion jockeys that you've ridden against. You must equal, or not equal, but get close to equal what they have done to be respected in the same breath as them, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So, like, when you don't reach them goals, then you kind of feel that maybe you just haven't done enough, And but then when you do reach them goals and you get to a point, and obviously not equaling Ruby because he's a lot more winners and Gold Cups and everything ridden than me, but I can still say I've won a Gold Cup, I've won 2 Grand Nationals, and I've been champion jockey a couple of times. But at least I'm boxing on the senior level, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, 100%, and you can sort of live with that and accept that. And
yeah, well, I'm grown up too. I'm 39 years of age, if I don't. And we live in a bit of a Peter Pan world as jockeys, because there's guys coming in at 16 that are sitting alongside you, and when you're 39 years of age sitting alongside a 16-year-old, you know, you kind of think you're a little bit younger than you are, and you get a bit childish in your mindset as such.
Yeah.
Sometimes our mindset rubs off on them, but also their mindset rubs off on us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So, well, listen, I should let you go because you're busy today. You're at Ferryhouse as ever. Big congratulations. I saw Michael O'Leary saying it's very unlikely that Tiger Roll will go in the Grand National next year. Kind of hard to turn down that shot at history as well, though. What do you think?
I'm sure, without a doubt, they'll do what's best for the horse.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, look, the horse will tell him what. If they feel he's not up to it, he won't. He won't. Did
you get the same feeling this year that you said you got last year?
He was very good. He loves the place, but you know, you just don't know. You're up again now. You know, this is another step forward. So I don't know where he'll stop, but I'm not really looking forward. I'm not looking into that now. Last year, okay, 1, and you'd look into it for 2, but no, he's done what, you know, quite a number of horses could ever do. So.
Yeah, well, listen, amazing. I mean, I think everybody was watching. It was extraordinary. Big congratulations. Enjoy it. I'm sure you will.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers, Davy. Thanks.
Radio.